Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another episode on the Saga channel. Today is a sequel episode. A sequel? Yeah, it's a follow-up to our episode from last week. So if you're watching this from the future and you've stumbled upon this episode, it is worth checking out last week's episode where we unboxed the Panasonic GH5 with the Panasonic 12-35 lens. That's gonna be our underwater photo camera. Today we're unboxing the underwater housing, and I've taken some serious risks, so let's do it. Okay guys, so today we are unboxing the Meikon Sea Frogs underwater housing for the Panasonic GH5. So last week we indeed unboxed and assembled the Panasonic GH5 camera. And today we're building further on our underwater photography kit by adding the Sea Frogs underwater housing and wide-angle dome port. That is a controversial choice because it's a little bit the odd one on the market. It's Chinese made, it's a lot cheaper. So I think that just makes for a more interesting episode. I'm well aware I could have gone Ikelite or Nauticam. I probably would have wanted to go Nauticam, except the housing literally costs more than the camera. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Of course, there's a reason for that. But nevertheless, I think this is going to make for a more interesting episode, assembling our rig and seeing how it performs. And if it doesn't perform well, unless it floods the camera, I'll simply upgrade when I'm ready. Now, if you guys like this type of content, guys, everything is scuba related, make sure to click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of this content, and feel free to comment, to like. I'm very happy to engage in the comments as well, because I think this is a bit of a controversial topic. So let's do it. Our waterproof camera housing for the Panasonic GH5. Full disclosure, I removed all the packing peanuts, you know, so that it's a little bit of a more smooth unboxing video. So the instructions for use manual, I already looked a little bit through it because I think that's gonna be a little bit important. And I will say immediately right away, spare O-ring, some lubricant. So I think with a good O-ring seal and some lubricant, we're already gonna get very far in our underwater camera experience. Then we have the strap. I don't think I'm gonna be putting this housing around my neck, but a nice Seafrog branded strap, and a stern warning about how to take care of your housing. This is a plastic housing, right? Plastic, salt water. I can definitely imagine a lot of scenarios where this thing isn't going to hold up, so good care will be key, but I think that's the case with any housing anyway. Then this is interesting. The Panasonic GH5 does not have a built-in strobe, so this actually comes with a little bit of a flash trigger. So it's a tiny strobe that goes on top of the camera, triggers the optical port in the housing, which then triggers the strobe. Strobe is for next episode, but I think that's still interesting to know that that comes in the box. So then we have the meat and the potatoes right here. So once again, guys, normally there's peanuts. They didn't just stuff this in there, but there we go. That's our underwater housing, which I think, to be really honest, it's very heavy. Now, weight by itself is not really an indicator, I think, of quality, but if they would have gone flimsy plastic, it would have felt very differently. Like, this is definitely a solid housing with a standard port right here. And yeah, actually, to be honest, it's relatively ergonomical as far as it can be ergonomical at this size. Most of the buttons seem to be there. I know that obviously from my research that there's no manual focus or no manual zoom, so that's immediately right there. A sacrifice that you're making when you're getting a little bit of a lure to your housing. And then right here we have our mechanism to open the housing, so let's have a look. There we go. And there we go. So everything seems right there. Our mechanical or our electronic rather flash trigger is there as well. Oh, little bit of a moisture sensor, and it works, so that's great. So yeah, obviously we'll need to place the camera, but first I did also get a wide angle dome port. So obviously underwater, a little bit more wide angle photography is going to allow you to get a little bit closer to the subject, a lot less noise between you and the subject. So that's why, yeah, of course, also Sea Frog, right? Sea Frog wide angle dome port. And once again, I took already all the peanuts out of the packaging, little user manual on how to install it, and then comes in a very nice velvety kind of protection, very important, and then another neoprene protection. So that's meant to go with you on the dive, of course, because obviously the dome is gonna be very prone to scratching, and you wanna watch out with that. So I've got some protective filters here. I'll remove those after I install the dome port, I suppose. So let's see how we assemble this. There seems to be a screw there that needs to be removed. Double checking that right now. It's not in there. It's not really in there either, so I guess we're gonna have to wing it a little bit, but there is clearly a screw in there. So I'm going, famous last words, I'm just going to unscrew that and see what happens. Alrighty, tiny little piece. I hate it when things have tiny components that loosen completely, but okay. And so now we should be able to rotate the port. Okay, there we go. So that was not overly difficult. It would not be crazy to provide an instruction for how to do that. There is an instruction for how to place it back, but I think for the sake of completeness they should have maybe included that. Then we have the dome port right here. So not sure if it's a double O-ring or just a single one. I think it's a single one, but I'm going to verify that very quickly. I think it's a single O-ring, and I guess they've just given us a spare O-ring, which again is very nice. I am going to apply some silicone grease there. Let's see. We don't need to go crazy, of course, just a little bit. Lube it up nicely. I'm going to say this right now. It feels as if I can't do this without potentially breaking it, and I don't like that feeling. But again, I guess you get what you pay for, but it kind of feels like I have to force this, and I really don't like that. I got it. That took a while, and that's dangerous because what was throwing me off was that the port wasn't sitting completely straight, and I knew something was off, but I couldn't tell because the indicators aren't very clear. But I figured it out now, and that's dangerous. I mean, if the port isn't exactly right, but you think it's maybe right, that's obviously how you flood stuff, huh? So I do think when you buy stuff that is a little bit cheaper like this, you kind of need to do your due diligence in making sure that it's not leaking. Obviously my first dive is also not going to be with a camera inside, but you do need to make sure that it's not leaking. So let's attach this here, make sure it no longer moves. Okay, got it. So there's that. That looks pretty good to me. So now we need to put the camera inside, I believe. There's a couple of warnings here. So before inserting your camera, switch off your viewfinder setting to monitor only. That's fair. Although I kind of wonder why there's a little viewfinder if you don't use it. And before inserting the camera, remove all accessories. That makes complete sense. So let's have a look. There we go. I think that's all good. So we're going to carefully close this up. Alrighty, so let's take this off. Now it's real, I think. Once this is off, it's really real. Okay. Alrighty, well, that looks pretty real to me, guys. That looks like it works pretty good. Let's take a test shot here. Yep, test photo. Wow, alrighty. Most of the functions also seem to work. Let's see if we can switch. That's exciting, guys. At the very least, it doesn't actually, you know, one of my fears was with going a little bit cheaper that maybe the buttons wouldn't align or something like that. But so far, it seems, now obviously I haven't touched every single function here, but so far it seems like the function buttons are all working as they should. Yeah, this all seems great. It seems to really work. So that is very, very exciting to me anyway. That's very exciting news. So obviously we still need to take it on a test dive, but I am kind of happy to say that at first glance, out of the box, the Sea Frogs Panasonic GH5 Housing and the dome port, they seem to work. They're definitely heavier than I thought, which I really think is good news. It doesn't feel like very cheap material to me, but it is plastic. I mean, I'm very, very aware that if you pay $3,000, $4,000 for a underwater housing, maybe you get a naughty cam, something like that, of course you're going to get better build quality and especially I think more longevity. Now, my theory is that a lot of people, because there are some people who complain about this one saying, great, it flooded my $2,000 camera on the first dive. I think there are some people out there, because this is cheaper, they buy it while maybe they don't exactly know how to handle this properly. So definitely a test dive is very important. Checking the O-ring every time you close it, because even as little as a hair can absolutely cause a leak and can flood the thing. So just properly using it. It's not as plug and play as, let's say, a GoPro. But again, we have to figure that out. So guys, next week we're going to build a rig that we can hold on to a little bit better, because I like to shoot video. We're going to put some strobe lights, some video lights. We're going to keep pimping, let's say, our underwater photo and video setup, right? So guys, if you like content like this, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out, and it also lets us know that we're in the right direction with the content that we're creating. So I can't wait to see you next time to add some more accessories to this and to take it on a dive as well. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.